Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be discussing the essential keys that you need to have in place to be gaining muscle as a newbie teen lifter. Okay? Because I get it. I've been there. I've done that. I was a newbie teen lifter at one point, and I know exactly what you guys are going through and exactly what keys you need to have in place to get where you want to be and start to gain muscle in the gym. But before we get into that, I would like to mention that I'm currently hosting a free video training where I'm helping young teenage men get the body of their dreams and the confidence that they've always wanted in just 12 weeks without all the BS and misinformation that floats around the fitness industry, using my very own Teen Transformation Accelerator that I've built through my 3 years in experience and gaining 40 pounds of muscle. And so if that sounds interesting to you and you want to check that out, completely free of charge, there's an insane amount of value there. You guys are not going to regret it. Go down below and click that very first link. I'll see you on the inside. Essential keys to gaining muscle for new teen lifters. What things do you need to have in place to see the results you are looking for? Okay. I know that there's a lot of confusion that surrounds this because a lot of people think they're doing everything right. They're doing everything wrong. They're listening to all these social media influencers that are giving you pieces of advice that don't actually matter, that aren't pivotal in actually trying to do what you're trying to do. I'm giving you the actual keys that you need to actually build the muscle you want to build, okay? And so the number one key is going to be prioritizing this whole process, okay? This whole process has to be important to you, okay? Because if it's not important to you, if it's not a priority, if it's not something that you view as important, because the bottom line is that if you don't view it as a priority, it's inevitably going to be given a back seat. It's going to take a back seat. And if it's in the front seat, I'm telling you, you're going to see that much more results than compared to if it's in the back seat. So you want to put your muscle gaining journey, all this stuff you're about to embark on, you need to have it in the front seat right next to you. That is absolutely vital. That was what I think was so vital to my success, was that it was very important to me, right? I wanted to gain muscle. I wanted to gain size. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what information was correct. And that's what I'm giving you guys, is the actual correct information, not all this other BS. And so the number one thing, prioritize it. Make it a priority. If you're really serious about it, get serious about it, okay? The next thing is going to be dialing in your diet, okay? Your diet is absolutely vital. You cannot out-train a bad diet. And what I mean by a bad diet is not eating the wrong foods or eating that. What I mean by a bad diet is the diet that is not tailored for your goals, okay? So all you that are watching this that are trying to gain muscle, you're skinnier, smaller guys, you're trying to gain muscle, you're trying to get big. You know what that means? That means you need to eat. You need to be eating enough to gain. You need to give your body the fuel to gain. I can get all technical about this as I have in other videos, but the bottom line is that you need to eat. You need to be eating in a caloric surplus, okay? So what that's going to look like is you eating a lot of food. So I would start out, as a general rule of thumb, I would start out at like 3,200 calories, because for most of you that probably have a higher metabolism, etc., start at 3,200. Because if you're not experienced with this, which you are not, if you're just starting out, if you're not experienced with this, you're not going to know what your maintenance is. Because if you know your caloric maintenance, which only comes through experimentation because it's different for everyone, if you know your caloric maintenance, you can very easily just say, okay, I'm going to eat in a 500 calorie surplus, I'm going to gain some weight. And so for me, I know what my caloric maintenance is. I know that my caloric maintenance is 3,000 to 3,200 calories. And so to bulk, to gain muscle, I eat 3,600 calories. But you don't know what your caloric maintenance is. And so the best thing that you can do is start eating a certain amount. Start eating 3,000, start eating 3,100, start eating 3,200, somewhere in that ballpark. And one, if you start to gain weight, perfect. If you start to pack on the muscle and not too much fat, perfect. But if you're not packing on any muscle, any size, any weight, what that means is that you're not eating enough. And then you're going to up it by 100 to 200 calories. And then you're going to try that out for like 2 or 3 more weeks. If you're still not gaining any weight, zero progress, you need to up it again. okay? And then you want to experiment, do that to find what your caloric surplus is going to be to gain weight. So then based on that, then you can start to kind of guesstimate where your caloric maintenance is and get a better idea of where you need to be eating at. But this is going to come through weeks and weeks and weeks of you tracking your calories and seeing if you're gaining weight, adjusting it, changing it, okay? That's just a reality though. You want to gain weight, you got to be eating enough. And then the other part of this too is going to be eating enough protein, because the protein is what your body uses as the building blocks to build the muscle, okay? I'm sure there's a better scientific way to explain it, but that doesn't matter. The point is you need to be eating enough protein, okay? So when it comes to your macros, your fats and carbs, they're really irrelevant. Like fats and carbs, you have more fats, you have more carbs. As long as it's still in your caloric amount, that doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is your protein and your calories. And so make sure on top of your calorie surplus that you are eating at least 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein. And you can even up this if you want. So in other words, you need to be eating at least 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein. And so right now, you're sitting down watching this video. If you weigh 150 pounds, you need to start eating 150 grams of protein at least every single day. Ideally, more. If you can manage it, get more. So caloric surplus, start out at 3,200, work your way up, or maybe even work your way down, because I also forgot to mention that, if you start to gain too much weight, it's probably because you have a slower metabolism. That's totally normal, totally fine. That might mean you need to lower them, but that might mean that you need to lower the calories actually to find one that's maintainable and that is not going to make you fat. Because if you gain too fast, yes, you are going to pack on muscle, but you're also going to pack on a little bit of fat. And so you want to find the balance where you're gaining fast enough to where you're actually seeing progress, but you're not gaining too fast to where you're packing on fat as well. Because your muscle, you can only gain so much at a time. And so if 3,200 is too much, you actually are going to need to lower it. But I'm assuming for most of you, 3,200 is going to be the minimum, okay? 3,200 calories, 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein. You must have these in place. If you do not have these keys and principles in place, you're not going to see results. Bottom line, okay? Get all these other bullshit ideas out of your head. Oh, this, that, eat every 2 hours. Oh, eat this meal, eat oatmeal, eat this, whatever, food. Eat 3,200 calories, up it if you need to, lower it if you need to, 1 gram per pound of body weight, okay? That's all you need to know for your diet. Simple, easy, that's all. Don't overcomplicate it. That's all you need to do, okay? And the next thing that you are going to need to have dialed in is your training. And this goes back to overthinking. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink your training, okay? Bottom line, you need to go into the gym. You need to train hard. You need to be going into the gym for 1.5 to 2 hours every single day and training like an animal. You need to go in. You need to destroy your muscle group, okay? If you're going in to train chest, you need to be walking out with a sore chest. Or, excuse me, you need to have a sore chest the next day and sore triceps and sore shoulders, okay? If they're not sore the next day, if your muscles aren't sore the next day as soon as you wake up, that means you didn't train hard enough, okay? And so you need to go in, you need to train hard, okay? I would recommend adding in some drop sets if you don't know what those are. That's basically where you train for a certain amount of reps. So say that I'm doing curls, right? I'm doing curls, I'm doing 12 reps, and then the 12th rep is like, I literally can't get it up. If someone offered me $1,000 to get this rep, I would, I just lost $1,000. And that's absolute failure. So you want to go to absolute failure, drop the weight, do it again. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. And you want to keep doing drop sets. Keep dropping the weight. I would recommend all the way up to a 5 times drop set. Like drop the weight 5 times in one set. Go to complete failure. You're not going to regret it. You're going to be sore the next day. And you're actually going to be making progress, okay? And so there's not one specific workout that you need to do. There's not one specific exercise. There's not one specific rep range and all that other stuff. The only thing that matters is that you're going in and you're training hard. And then on top of that as well, you need to be progressing in all of your lifts. And so if this is you going to the cable, like there's some people that just train all barbell. There's some people that train with just dumbbells. There's some people that train with just kettlebells. There's some people that just train with cables, okay? It doesn't matter. As long as you're doing movements for every single one of your muscle groups and you're progressively getting stronger in them, you know, whether that be on a weekly or bi-weekly or session by session basis, as long as you are getting stronger in all of your lifts, no matter what the lifts are, and they target, you know, all of your muscle groups. So find your favorite shoulder exercises, you know, your favorite 3 shoulder exercises, your favorite 3 chest exercises, your favorite 3 bicep exercises, your favorite 3 tricep exercises, your favorite 3 back exercises, your favorite 3 leg exercises, your favorite 3 calf exercises. Do all of it. Get stronger. Train as hard as you possibly can. And go in there for 1.5 to 2 hours. Destroy your muscle group. Leave. You're going to be sore the next day. You're going to come back and you're going to do it again for your next muscle group. Okay? It's as simple as that. Don't overthink it. As long as you're getting stronger, you are also going to be getting bigger. Because you have to keep that in mind as well, that mass moves mass. The more mass you're moving, the more mass you're going to have. And so inevitably, if you are eating enough protein, and you are getting stronger, whether you like it or not, that means that you're gaining muscle. Congratulations. Congratulations. You're gaining muscle. You're making progress. I'm very proud of you. Okay. But you got to do both these things. And then on top of that as well, I would recommend getting some nice quality sleep every night, man. Just go to bed at a good time. Get some good sleep. Take some melatonin if you need to, but don't get overly dependent on it. Okay. But get that nice quality sleep every night, because not only is that going to give you more energy to go train hard, but it's going to help you to recover quicker, right? The better sleep you get, the less sore you're going to be on the days you wake up. So, you know, if I get more sleep, then I'm going to recover quicker. I'm not going to be sore for as long, and I can go in and train that much earlier, right? As soon as I recover one muscle group, I can go train that muscle group again. But in the meantime, while that muscle group is recovering, I'm going to do the other muscle groups. That's how a split works, like push-pull legs or chest and back, shoulders and arms and legs, etc. That's how the splits work, and getting good sleep is absolutely pivotal in that. And so I know that for a lot of you, and even myself included sometimes, that it's hard to get that quality sleep, you know, whether you're stressed out over stuff, you have sleep problems, there's so many different factors that can make it so that you can't get good sleep. Like, you literally can't, no matter how hard you try, to get a good night's sleep. That's totally understandable, but you can minimize that to your fullest extent to reach your fullest potential in the gym, okay? And so if that means having less caffeine, okay. If that means going to bed at the same time every day, okay. Like, there are things that you can do despite your busy schedules, your stressful lives, that can help you to really get better sleep. And so find what those things are. Just try to optimize everything exactly how I've explained it, and you are going to see amazing results in the gym, and you are going to be setting yourself on the right track for major long-term success. Because if you are just starting out in the gym and you apply these keys and principles exactly how I've explained them, you are setting yourself up on the perfect track. Okay, because you must understand that me and thousands, hundreds of thousands of other men that have started lifting in the gym, they didn't know these things. I didn't know these things. And so I learned them through experimentation. But if I would have known these things in the very beginning, I would have been on the right track that much sooner, and I would probably be that much bigger by now, because I just was doing the right things for a longer period of time. And so in other words, you do these things right now, you continue to do them, you trust the process, you put the work in, okay? You are setting yourself up for major long-term success in the gym. You're going to be one of those guys in the gym that people look up to. If you guys found this information useful and you never want to miss a new video, go down below and click that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Always remember to get her done.